I am excited today. You know why? Because we're going to use so many technologies. We're going to learn about Mongo, Express, Node.js to put together a full-on REST API. Now don't worry if you don't know anything about these. We're going to learn how to connect to a database. We're going to learn how to make routes and make API calls and all the good stuff. Oh, and since you guys like the last magic trick I did, hold up, I got you. So since we're learning with 3 technologies today, once we learn them, we're going to become kings. Hello, it's me, Mario. Anyway, okay, let's get going here. Let's create a REST API. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to terminal here, and I'm just gonna npm init, which is gonna generate us that package.json file, which does actually not too much, but it just holds us the dependency. So here I'm just gonna hit enter 10,000 times until we have this package.json. Okay, so this holds again all the packages that we're gonna get from the internet. And the first package I'm gonna install is something called Express. So let's do npm install Express, like so. It kind of reminds me of Polar Express. Let me know if you've seen that in the comments. Okay, so Express, and the other one is nodemon, and hit enter. So we can install multiple packages here just by adding a space and then the other package's name. You can also add that nodemon into your dev dependencies if that's something you wish. But for now, this is going to be super simple and it's going to be fine. So after everything is installed, we can close up this terminal a bit and we can go to package.json here. And as you can see, it holds our packages. Wow. Amazing. Good job, package.json. You're doing your job. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to remove the scripts here and I'm going to add a start. Okay, and here, make sure to add double quotes here, and here as well, because it's not going to work if you're not going to do that. Don't blame me for it. I'm not the reason why it doesn't work. And here we can just add nodemon app.js, which we are going to create now. So this is a script that's going to help us execute and run our server. Okay, that's all it does. Close that up. We're going to create a new file called app.js. Now, if you remember, again, we did it like so. We added the HTTP, we required the HTTP, and then we created the server, and Jesus Christ, okay, nobody wants to do that. So now look at Express. It's going to be very awesome. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import Express by saying const express equals to require express. That just gets us the package into this file. The second thing we are going to do is we are going to execute this express. So the way you're going to see online and everywhere is people are going to create this app variable and they're going to just execute express on top of it. And now you have the ability to create routes in a very, very simple way. So I'm just gonna add a comment here with routes. Okay, if you're blind like me, I'm gonna zoom in a bit. There we go. Hopefully this is a bit more visible now. And let's create a route. But before we create a route, how do we start listening to the server? Like, how do we boot up the server? Well, look at this. It's super simple. All you have to do is say app.listen and you give it the name, the port name that you want to listen to. So for example, 3000, and done. That's it. Now we can create a route, and I'm going to explain what's happening here in just a bit. For now, let's just create it. We can do app.get, and you can pass a route, add a comma here, and then you have your request and response like we did in Node. And now I can just send a message if I want with respond, so res.send. I'll just say, we are on home. Okay, the home slash home URL. Okay, and that's it. We can reopen up the terminal or up here if you want, and we can just do npm start. So we are running that script from package.json. Perfect, let's take a look in here. And as you can see, if I hit enter, we have the message, we are on home. So everything works. Wow, that's pretty cool. It's like 3 lines of code. So what's happening here? Well, we import the package, we execute it, and with that, we can create routes. So we can use this app to create routes. Now get, all it means is that it shoots us back a message. If we want to send a message, so like submitting a form, like a login form, then we would use something like post, okay, that gives it. We can also delete something. So you can imagine we have a post list. Then I want to remove a certain post, I can use delete. And in here, you would add the logic to remove that post. We have delete, and we also have something called patch, which updates, for example, a post, okay? So you would use patch for updating, delete for deleting, get to get the information, post to give the information, okay? And in here, the first parameter we have is the route that we want to go to. So this executes when we go to slash, so just localhost, so nothing here. If I want maybe this to go to slash posts, like this, slash post, I would create another route to do that. So I can copy this and paste it down here, and I can add posts, like so. And now I can change this we are on home to we are on posts, and go back here. And now if I go to posts and hit enter, we are on posts. So as you can see, it's super, super easy to create these routes with Express. And as you can see here all we do is just respond to the user by sending a message here, which is a string. Mwah, super cool. Okay, there's another concept that we need to talk about before we can create this, this REST API, is something called middlewares in Express. And all middleware is, you can imagine it as just being a function that executes when a specific, when routes are being hit. And let's say when we are hitting this slash here, we can run a function that's always going to execute when we hit this route. So let's take a look on how we can do that. And we can kind of restrict it. So for example, for it to only hit when we are on posts. So let's take a look. Let's do it with the posts. So the way you can create a middleware is you just say app.use, and here you specify the route that you want it to execute. We can do posts, and then here we can just create a function. And let's say whenever we hit this post, I can always run this function. And I'm just gonna say hello. This is a middleware running. All right, so we can add some logic here to run every time we hit this post. So hit save, and let's take a look here. When we are on home and hit enter, let's take a look what we have in our console, and we don't have anything, so that's good. But when we go to posts, /posts, hit enter, look at that. Now we have, this is a middleware running. So we can execute these small functions, and you're going to see that we're going to use some packages to add as middlewares. Even like authentication, you can imagine that we can use like some authentication in here, auth. So every time we hit a route, then this is always going to check if the user is authenticated, you know? So every time we go to a specific route, this is going to run. Okay, so that's kind of the point of middlewares. All right, let's remove this because we don't need that to console log. It's pointless. And the first thing we are gonna do is we are gonna let's connect to a database. So to connect to a database, we're gonna use MongoDB and mongoose, which is a package that's gonna help us make everything way easier. And MongoDB is actually a document type which doesn't really have relations. So you can imagine it as being just a one huge object that's storing a lot of information. So you don't have like relations and tables and things of that sort if you know SQL. Mongoose kind of gives you that ability, and it makes connecting to a database and everything very easy. So we're going to use that for now just because of its simplicity. So I'm going to close up the server by doing Control-C, and we're going to install npm install mongoose here. It's mongoose. There we go. Hit enter. Let that sucker install. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go to something called mlab. So let's go to mlab.com. And here we can use a free database it gives us like half a gigabyte, which is very nice, just to kind of experiment and prototype with it. Okay, so we're not gonna download it, and because it can get kind of complicated there to make it work. So depending if you're on Windows or Mac OS. So let's keep it simple for now. Let's just go on MLab. You can create an account, and once you're on your account, then you can go up here to manage, and we can create a new server, a database. So we can go here to create new. We're gonna hit that. And now we can go to sandbox here, which is free. We can hit down here, continue, and we can choose a server. I'm gonna use Europe. Hit next, we can give it a name. I'm gonna give it a rest. That's gonna be the name, and hit submit. And there we go. That's gonna give us the database. Let's wait a bit. There we go, and it's in progress, which is fine until that happens, but it should happen quite quickly actually. There we go, gave a refresh. I'm gonna click on it, and the way we can connect to it is with this link up here. It says to connect, to use driver, blah, 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 blah here. Okay, so this is what we need here. But as you can see, it's gonna ask us for a DB user and a password. So this is something that we need to create. Now, how can you create that? All you have to do is go here to the users. So click on this one, and you can add a database user. So this is just so you can access that database. You can have multiple people here that can access your database. For now, let's just do test boy. And I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Password must contain at least one alphabetic character. I'm gonna do Rhino 94. Rhino 94. That's fine. Create. Okay, perfect. We have that. Now the problem is that we cannot store this URL with the password and the DB user in here when we connect, because, well, people, when we push up this code, people can see the username and the password, so that's not good. So the way we can hide that is by installing a package. We can do npm install .env, so .env. Okay, hit install. There we go. We're gonna wait for it for a bit, and let's try to connect to our database. So let's go down here, and for now we're gonna hard code it, and I'm gonna just add connect to DB here, like so. And the way we can do that is we can import this mongoose package. So mongoose equals to require mongoose. Perfect. And down here, what we can do is just say mongoose.connect. And then we can pass in that URL. So let's go back here and let's copy this. And we're gonna change this later a bit, so don't worry, I'm not gonna hard code this in here. But what you do is you just change this DB user, you're gonna delete it, and all you do is add your username and password that you added on MLab. So in here, I added Rhino94. And what you can also do here, after this string, you can pass an arrow function and just console log connected to DB. Okay, just a quick message to let us know that everything works here. Okay, that's it. Let's open up our console here and just say npm start, and let's see if we get that message. So there we go, connected to DB. Now we're getting this deprecation warning here, and we can fix that by, they just say that you need to pass this new URL parser. So we're just gonna copy this from here, and I'm just gonna pass it next to here. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a comma right after, right before this arrow function. So let me go back here. So I just add a comma. Actually, let me hit save. Okay, so we just pass the string, we add this object here with new URL parser, and then we have our function here to just say, hey, we connected. And as you can see now, we don't have that deprecation warning anymore. Perfect. Now, again, we don't want to hard code this, so we installed that .env package. So the way we can hide this is we can create a .env file, and here I can add a kind of special message here, or a key or a code or anything that I don't want anybody to see. And And the way we can do that is I can just give it a name. So for example, this is DB connection, okay? And I can set this equal to this text in here. So I'm gonna copy this and paste it in here. Okay, so this is how it looks. And we can hit save. And now to use this, again, remember, we are not gonna push this code up to GitHub or anything, this .env. So, because people are gonna see our password and everything. So we can just get rid of this. And the way we can use it is by going up here and requiring that .env package, like so, and we're gonna add a /config, okay? Here, you don't need to create a variable name before it. It's just gonna work. And once you require this package, we have access to this .env, this DB connection here, by writing process.env.db connection. Okay, that's it. Hit save. Let's take a look. Are we still connecting? Hey, there we go. We're connected to our database. So that's super perfect. Okay, now this file can get quite crazy. As you can see, it gets kind of crazy. So what we can do is we can actually remove these routes from here and add them into their own kind of file. And we can import them in here and use them. So let's take a look on how we can do that. We can create a folder here called routes, and maybe this is just handling posts. So we can create a new file that's called posts, like that, .js, okay? And what we can do here is we can import that express again, require express. And what we can also do is call const router, set this equal to express router, and call this as a function. And now what we can do is we can kind of create our own routes in separate files and just import it into this app.js. And it's all gonna make sense in a bit. So now we can use this router rather than the app to create our routes. So we can do router.get, and we can do /posts, and we can just say request and response, and we can actually just copy everything from here and paste it in here and change this to router. And now we can just module.exports, set this equal to that router. So we're exporting this router. So you can kind of configure this so you can have a post router, you can maybe have a users router and things like that, okay? So you can make everything more clean in your folder structure and everything. Okay, so we have this one. Hope you're still with me because I'm lost already. I'm tired. Okay, so we have this. Now the cool thing is that maybe I don't want to keep track of having like /posts and things of that sort. So we can use a middleware. We can bring this posts from here to app.js. So import routes. I can just say const posts routes route posts route is equal to require, and I'll just go to that folder. So posts, there we go. And now rather than the way we can do it is we can go here and we can just do app.use, so we can create the middleware. And now I'm gonna say every time you go to that posts, make sure to use this post route, okay? And now here, the cool thing is I don't have to add this posts anymore here, because every time we're gonna go to posts, these post routes are gonna run. So let's take a look. Let's go back here to our localhost and hit enter, and we should still see that we are on posts. Now the cool thing here is that if I want to add more, I can just go here and just add maybe a specific post, so maybe post.specific, and hit enter, and this is going to be a specific post. Hit save, and now if we go back to the browser, I can just go /specific. And that's not correct because I might misspell this. Let's go back again to the browser, and there we go, hit enter. And as you can see, we are on specific post. So the reason we're doing this with the middleware here is you can have multiple middleware. So you can use app.use, maybe have a user/user, and you have a user route. Okay, you can create a new file for that as well. Now I don't have to worry about adding here posts and everything / whatever. I always know that in here in my post route, this is always going to bring me to that post. So whatever you have in that app.js. And if you want to attach more things to it, and then you can do it here. Okay, like we did here with the specific. So this might be a bit weird, but it's very effective. And all you have to do again is just create a route, export that router here, and then just bring it into the app.js and use it as a middleware. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So we have app.usePosts here, which is great. And now we can only work here. Okay, that's perfect. And let's see what we are gonna need. So here, I'm gonna leave this. We are on home. That's completely fine. And now what we're gonna need to do is we are gonna need to create some data so we can store it in our database because we have nothing now. And the way we do that is with Mongoose is we create these models. So let me just show you because it's going to make a lot of sense once I show you. So we're going to create a new folder called model here, or models, hit enter, and then you just create a post model. So I'm going to uppercase this by saying post.js, hit enter, okay? And here I'm going to import that mongoose package, require mongoose, like so, perfect. And we are going to create a schema now. Now what the schema means, it just represents how that post looks. So maybe it has a title, and that's a string. Maybe it has some description. So you kind of describe the way your data looks. That's it. That's what a schema is. So let's create it. We can do a const post schema, and then we can set this equal to mongoose.schema. Okay, we're getting that functionality from Mongoose. And here we just create an object like so. And here, now we can just describe the properties that we want to use. So maybe my post has a title, okay? And that's a string. That's it. That's all you have to do. Maybe I have a description. I can add a description. And that's going to be a string. And maybe I have a price. I don't know why you would have a price. So let's just get rid of this. And we can also do date if we want. Okay, maybe these are the only three properties we want. And we can just do date.now. Okay. Now, what if I want to add validation to this, or maybe I need this to be required? Okay, this cannot be left empty. That way we can do this. We can remove this string and we can just add an object here. And now we can describe multiple things. So I can add a type of string, so the way we did it, but maybe I want this to be required, so I can add required true. And I can actually copy and paste this to the next one. So in here, because this is going to be the same. And for the date, I can also add a type date. There we go. And we can also add a default if we want. We can say date.now and hit save. So there we go. Again, this just kind of describes the way our data is going to look, our post data. You can imagine that we have a user schema. That's all it's going to be is like mongoose.schema. And then you kind of define the user schema. Maybe you have a username. That's going to be a type string, a password, and a string. Okay, and you can have date or maybe user info. So it just kind of describes the way your data looks. That's all it is. And at the end, once we have the schema, all we do is we module.export. So we export this and we set this equal to mongoose.model. And now we give it a name. So I'm going to give it posts. And this model is the thing that's going to show up in our MLab. So you're going to see posts show up. Okay. So we give this the name and the schema that it should use. So we're gonna say post schema, and that's it. I promise, that's it. There we go. So we create that model, we give it a name, and we give it the schema to use. And that's it. That's all we need to do. We can close out of this, and we can just straight up work in this posts. So let's let's try the get back. Let's try to add a post. Okay, let's try to create one. So the first thing you would do is you would import, you would go up here and you would import that model that you want to post to. So we're going to say const post equals require, and then we can go back to the model. We need to add double dots here, dot slash. We need to go to models slash post. There we go, hit save. So we got back this post, and now what we can do is, let's go down here. There we go. And we can just say router.post because we want to post something to it. And the route is going to be slash, and then we can add a comma. Then we're going to have request and response like so. Perfect. There we go. We're going to open this up. And the way we can create a new post is by saying const post. Okay, I'm just going to create an object here. And what we need to do is we are going to have to access the information, so the thing that we're posting, to our API from the body, so request.body. And we can actually console log that out to see what we get back. So console log request.body. And I'm just gonna leave it at this for now. Because we are going to need another package to make this work. So how can we test this out? So how can we post to things, delete things without actually creating a React app or without using the browser? So a very cool thing that we have is something called Postman. So you can search up Postman, and this is the first one right here, and you can download it. It's super simple. And this is, again, just going to help us test out our API in very simple ways. So let me open this up here. Let me close this. We're going to say Postman. Come on, my friend. This laptop is killing me. All right, there we go. So we're opening up Postman here. And it's taking too much. It's too long. There we go. I need to reinstall mine because it's giving me a nasty error. But anyway, we can close this up. Even this one, we can close this up. And as you can see here, now we can make a GET request if we want. So let's try to make a GET request to this post. All I have to do is copy this and paste it in here. And I want to do a GET request. And when I hit send, as you can see, I get back that message. We are on posts. Perfect. Now, how can I submit one? We can just go to post here. And now I want to make sure I go to body here. Let me delete this. And you can choose, if you have it on form data, you can choose raw. And you can go to JSON application JavaScript here, not application JSON, application JSON here. And now you can submit data. You can imagine that you're kind of doing this with on a React, okay, front end, but we can just do it here. So the way we can submit to it is we can create an object here, like so. Let me kind of zoom in here so you can see. There we go, actually more. And now we can just define the things that we defined in our model. So how is our post model looking like? Well, let's take a look. So let me open up the code here, and it takes a title, a description. We don't need to provide the date because it's gonna jump to this default now. So all we need to do is just add a title and description. So let's try it. So we can do a title. I'm just gonna say, make sure to add double quotes here, title. And we're gonna say, my first post. And then we can also add a description. Again, make sure you add those double quotes and a comma at the end here. This is my description of my love life. Why would you do that? I'm not sure, but hey, YOLO. Okay, so we have this going here. I'm gonna full screen this. And now when we click send, as you can see, this is loading. Nothing really happens here, which is fine. But if we go back to our app here, we're gonna see that we get undefined down here. Why is that happening? Well, the problem is that we cannot process that that request that's coming in our body. We're gonna need a special package that's gonna convert this to JSON for us. Okay, so this is not gonna work by default. So the way we can do that is there's a package called body parser, which is gonna do exactly that. It's gonna parse our request, and it's gonna give us back the correct way to handle that data. So we can just npm install body parser like so. Okay, hit enter. It's about waiting again, so there's a lot of waiting with installing these packages. So all you have to do is up here, let's go back to our app.js, and we just add that package. So we say const body parser is equal to require body parser, like so. And now we just create one of those middlewares. We can say app.use, and every time we hit any request, we're gonna make sure that this body parser runs, okay? So we're gonna say body parser dot JSON, like so. And that's it, that's all we have to do. It's one line of code, literally. So npm start, and let's take a look again if that works. So we're gonna start up the server. Let's go back to Postman and hit send again on the posts. And let's take a look what we get now. Look at that, we are getting back the title and description down there. So again, it parses it and it makes sure the response comes back and we can work with it. That's all body parser does. So now that we have this information, we can kind of work with it and post it to our database. So that's very cool. So let's take a look here. Let's go back to our posts. We can close this up, our app.js. We're not gonna work in app.js anymore. Let's minimize that as well. And in here in our posts, what we can do is delete this. We don't need this. So just so you know, we have our information that we're sending on this request.body. Okay, let's get rid of this and we can create a new post. I'm just gonna say const post equals to new post. Now, what is this new post? Well, it's from here. We are gonna create a new post with this model that we have up here. And all we have to do is call this function and pass in an object in here, okay? And here we have a title. And where is that title coming from? From request body title. We also have a description that's coming again from request body description, okay? Hope that's super clear. Okay, so we have this post now, and we can save this to our database by just saying post dot save, like so. Perfect. And this actually returns a promise, and actually we need to add something called exec, which makes it to return a promise. And then all we have to do is say then, okay? So we're just doing a promise here. We can get back the data, like so. And then all we have to do is say res.json data. So if I want to see it on the screen, this is all I'm going to do. After we post the data, I'm just going to put it out on the screen there. So I'm just going to respond with a JSON and the data that we're saving to our database. And here we can also catch if we have an error. So make sure to add dot catch here, error. And here we can just run an arrow function again. And you can also respond with a status code. So here this would be a 200. So you could do res.status like 200, but I don't want to overcomplicate with you. You can take a look at the status codes if you want to know more. You probably know 404, which means that it's not found. So that's kind of what you would use these statuses for. So for this one, we can just say res.json and we can just send back that error message. We can even do one if we want. We can create a object here with a message of error. Hit save. And yeah, let's take a look if this works. Let's go here, and now we added this and we hit send and we get an error. It's gonna say post.save is not a function. So let's take a look why this is happening. And I apologize, I don't think we actually need this exec anymore. We can just hit save here. Let's take a look now and hit send again. And there we go. Look, we have that object created. And we can even take a look in our database. So let's go back to MLab in here, there we go. Let's hit refresh. And we have our rest. Yes, there we go. And we have posts. There we go. That's our model, our post model. And we have 2 posts actually. I think I submitted this twice. So my first post and my first post. So let's get rid of one. We can also get rid of one by clicking on delete. And as you can see, it also gives us an ID. So this is something automatically generated by Mongo. And we have title, description, and our date right down here. So that's super, super cool. We can also reformat this in async await if you want. And the way you can do that is all you have to do is just add async up here. So before this request and response, this stays the same. And here we just create a const, let's say saved post. And we can set this equal to await post.save. And that's it. And we can kind of simplify this. Get rid of this. And then we can just res.json the saved post. So this is a bit more cleaner. Now we can wrap this in a try catch like so. So we can try this and then we can catch an error just in case. So catch, and here we have access to an error like so. And we can just res.json a message with the error. Hit save and let's see if that works the same way. We can go back to Postman. And here, let's say this is my second post. And here we can just change the description to my love life is kind of not great. Okay, and hit save here and we can send this again. And as you can see, it works the same way. And we should have that data available for us. Now let's actually change up this router.get here so we get back all the posts. Because right now we are not getting back all the posts. And I don't want this message, we are on posts. Who cares? We want back the data. So the way we can get that is, again, we can just add that async if we want. And we can do a try catch here. Like so, catch. We can catch the error. And here I can just res.json the message of error. Perfect. And in our try, what we can do is we can just say const posts. So this is all the posts that we're getting back. And we can await the response. So we can call post. So again, this is the model. And the way we can get that is by adding find. Okay, this is a method on mongoose. And here, again, if you leave it empty like this, this is just going to return all the posts for you. There's a lot of things you can do. Look, if you want, you can have a limit, so you can return only 5 posts if you want, if that is what you wish for. So you have a lot of options here. But for now, we're just going to return everything, and that's going to be fine. We can say rest.json, and we can send back that response. So posts, and that's it. Let's take a look. We are on posts. We can go to get, and when we hit send, look, we are getting back the whole lists of all of our posts. Let's do another post request here, and on the posts we can go back to the body. Let's send another one just so we have 3. This is my final post, my final YouTube video, parentheses emotional. Okay, clickbaiting, perfect. And the description is gonna be buy my merch. All right, and hit send, and we should get another one. So we can go back again to the get, hit send, and now we have 3 posts here. So that's very, very cool. Okay, what else do we need to do? Well, let's try to get a specific post. So this one gets back all the posts. This one submits a post. And down here, we can, let's get back a, what shall we, let's get back a specific post. Specific post, okay? And the way we can do that is we can do router.get again, okay, get, because we want to get back one specific post. And rather than adding only slash, we can do slash, and we can do colon here, and we can give it a name, so like post ID or something, post ID. And here we have our request and response. And let me console log out this post ID so you know what it is. I can just say console log request dot params dot post ID. So this is where we have it, we have access to it. Okay, hit save. And basically this is kind of like a dynamic parameter. So anything you add after posts, so let's take a look here, anything you add after here is gonna be that post ID. And we can access it with request params post ID. So let me just show you the example, because we are console logging it here in this route. So if we go back here, what we can do is just say, this is the param, and when we hit send, all right, this is gonna block, but that's fine because we're just console logging. But as you can see here on our console, well, this is our param. So, okay, that's cool, but what can we do with this? Well, we can find a specific post by the URL. So what we can do, we can delete this and we can say post, okay, the model again. So whenever you want to do anything to submit data or get data, we can use the model that we created in here. And what we can do is say post. And again, you have a ton of methods here that you can have fun with. One of them is called find by ID, which we're going to use here. And we are going to find that ID by this parameter here, request params dot post ID. Okay, that's it. And then you can do something with the response. So again, we can use that async here and just store this into a single post, set this equal to that, and make sure you add a wait, because this might take some time because it's coming from a database. And then what we can do is we can just say res.send or JSON, and we can send that post. Perfect. Again, we can wrap it in a try catch just to be safe here, like so. And we can catch, just make sure if we have an error, then we are gonna res.json that message with the error. Hit save and let's take a look. So when we are getting all the posts, now if I hit send here, we're getting back an error because there's no such thing with this ID as this is the param. But look at this, if we go to posts and hit send, well, we are getting back all the information. And let me just copy one of these IDs here. So let's do this one, the last one. This is my final YouTube video, emotional. And if I copy the ID from here and I paste it at the end of this URL and hit send, as you can see now it just returns that specific URL, that specific post, just because of this post ID, and we can pass it down in here to search for a specific post. And this way you can delete a post or update the post using this param. So let's take a look on how we can delete one. It's going to be very simple. We're going to go down here. We're going to say delete a specific post. Down here, all we have to do is say router dot delete. So this is going to be a delete method. Here we can do the same thing. We can add post ID. We can do request and response. My throat is super dry, but that's fine. And here, now what we can do is, again, we can use that model to do something with our data. So I'm gonna call post, and we have a method here called remove. And that's exactly what it's gonna do. It's gonna remove a specific post. So this takes an object here, and we can remove something with a specific ID. So I'm adding underscore here. If you cannot see that, let me zoom in. That's too much. Ed, what are you doing? I'm adding this underscore here because, as you can see, that's the thing that Mongo generates for us automatically. So I'm searching basically by that criteria. Zoom out a bit in, that's fine. Okay, so here, what I do is just say, this ID needs to match that thing that's coming from my request params post ID. Okay, so this one. Perfect. Let's hit save. And again, this is gonna come back with a promise. So let's say async, and I'm gonna store this const removed post or something, and set this equal to that. Make sure we await this. and we add a try catch again. You can kind of actually copy paste this and just modify that. If this is taking too long, we get back the error here, and I can just copy paste this from up here, hit save. So once we have that removed post, I can just send back, let's just do a res.json with the removed post. Okay, hit save. Now the cool thing is, all I have to do is once I am on this post, so maybe I want to delete this and I want to keep continuing to make awesome videos on YouTube, we can just go to delete. And now since I have the same ID here, I can just hit send, and look at that, we're getting back this weird message. It's going to say here delete count. Let's make sure that we deleted this post. So we can go back to the get request here, and we can just delete this ID and just call this posts. So we can get back all the posts. And look at that, we deleted the last one. So that's good. Now, the final thing I want to show you is how we can update one. So let's go back here, and the way we can update one is by using something called patch. So update a post. And let's say I want to update a title of a specific post. So all we have to do is call router.patch. That's going to update it. I can do the same thing. So everything kind of repeats itself here. And we can call a method called on the post, again, update one. And I can pass that thing in that we did here. So the criteria that we are searching from, like we did here in the remove. So I can just copy this and paste it in here like that. So again, we're searching by this. We can use async again here. And let me just, what are we copying? Let's just copy the catch here. Then I'll wrap it in a try catch. All right, let's get rid of this. So try, and then we catch. Perfect, so we get this. Let's store it somewhere. Const updated post equal to await post updated one. So this is the one that we are gonna wait for. Now this takes another property here. So we have this object that is the search criteria, and the next one is gonna be another object that you wanna change a specific information. So here, what I wanna do is actually add something called $set. Okay, and here you add a colon and another pair of objects here. So this takes another object in here. Here, what you would do is you just say, maybe I want to change the title. So I can say title, and that's coming from request body title. Okay, hit save. So this is how it kind of looks. We have updated one, we have this, and then we set the new value in here. Okay, and finally, what we do is in here, we just say const, let's just output this actually. Let's just say res.json, and then we post that updated post. Okay, hit save. And now we can go back here, and let's say I want to change the title of this second post. So I'm going to copy this ID, paste it in here. I'm going to switch to patch. And now in my body, I can just delete this and just update the title if I want. So for the title, I'm gonna just change this to, we are learning about backend stuff, and hit send. Let's take a look. And as you can see, we get back a response with, it says and modified here, and some other fun stuff that, to be honest, I don't understand everything in here, but hey, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, if we go to get now and go to post and hit send, we should get, look, we are learning about backend stuff. So that specific part of the code of the information updated. And our description is still, my love life is kind of not great, but it's okay. All right, so there we go. We wrote, we got information, we posted information, we deleted information and everything. All right, so let's see how this can work and how we can use it actually in the browser. So I'm going to do this very quickly. We're not going to implement it in a React project. If you want to see like how you can work with APIs and stuff like that, check out my React for beginners. You should have that up there. And I think we work with like 2 or 3 APIs. But for now, let me just kind of give you an example of what problem you might run into once you have the server running. So maybe here you would do something like, let me zoom in here a bit. So maybe I want to fetch that. I want to fetch all the posts. So the way we're doing here. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to say fetch. So the posts in here, and then you would get back the result. And let's just console log the result. Okay, let's hit tab. Why you do this to me? Close up. Hit tab, and this should not work. Okay, it's gonna say access to fetch localhost 3000 posts from origin CodePen has been blocked by course policy. No. Okay, you're gonna have this problem a lot of times. You're gonna have this error and you're gonna say, why is this happening to my life? And the reason why this is happening is because, look, if we are on localhost 3000, we are only able to make requests on localhost 3000. You can imagine this as I have my own API on dev@.com, and you have your own website on juliaroberts.com. Okay, Julia Roberts cannot make requests to my API on my domain because by default they have this access control origin blockage thing. Okay, so this only works if, again, you can imagine is I have my website, it's dev@.com, and I have my Node server running there. If I have my client code, so my client React project still on dev@.com, then everything is gonna work fine. But if I have my API on dev@.com and I have my React project on Judah is, why am I saying Judah? Just another domain, it's not gonna work, okay? You cannot do that cross-domain fetching. But we can fix that. We can go back here to our project, and we can actually allow it to use across all the domains. So we can install a package from this. We can close up this with Control-C, Y, and we can npm install cores. Hit enter. We're gonna wait a bit. All right, once it's installed, all we have to do is just to add that middleware. So let's go back to app.js here, and we can do it, let's do above here, because we have our middlewares here, and we're using the body parser, and we can also use that course. And all you have to do is just say app.use, and you just say course, and you invoke that function, and that's it. Simple as that. We can run the function, and we can start up the server again, npm start, and let's take a look. Let's pray for the gods. Oh no, course is not defined. Okay, we need to import it. Ed, what are you doing? Const course equals require course. Yay, hit save. Do you still hate me? Nope, okay, he doesn't hate me. Let's go back to CodePen and try this again. Hit refresh. Come on, data, come back to us. Why? Oh, there we go, we have the response. Hey, look at that. We have the response, everything works fine now. So we can extract that by saying, so now if I just convert it to JSON here, so I'm gonna return this result.json, and I just console log the data, we should have this. Let's take a look. Look at that. We have the array with both of our objects. And now we can work with this and use it in our HTML. And there we go. Look, we got the data from an external API that we created. There we go. We put together all 3 technologies to create a simple REST API. Let me know if you want to see user authentication and things like that, how we can hash passwords. And if you want to see that, I am here for you. Okay, I'm here. I'm bored and I have nothing to do. All right, and let me know if you want to see other magic tricks, because I have some more right there in the background and you cannot see it, but there are a lot of magic tricks behind me happening. So, okay, all right, I'll see you next time. Have a great day.